that'll take us on to JSA issue 8. Geoff Johns and David Goyer writing with Steven Sadowski on the art. This is the second part of the Obsidian.
At least 3-parter. No.
At least 3-parter. I'm pretty sure it is. I don't think it's any longer than 3 parts though, because that Wildcat issue is in the single digits. I know it is.
I wouldn't have mentioned it, but you were so adamant last time.
Wait a minute.
It was 2 issues.
This is issue 8. It can't be in the single digits because issue 9 has to be the end of this. So, okay, it's definitely in the first trade, right? That Wildcat issue is in the first goddamn trade. I know it is.
That I will agree with you on. It is absolutely in the first trade.
And there's definitely an arc after it. So it's definitely between this arc and the next arc. It's just a question of how many issues are left in this arc. I think it's only
How
one
many
though.
issues? This book only goes up to 12, right?
Nah, it was like 15, 16 in the first this
is it
first
that long
trade,
in this
yeah.
book? Jesus, okay.
So it's a longer trade.
So it could be a while, yeah. This could be a full 4 or 5 issue arc.
I'm going to say no. The fact that I was so sure it was only a 2-parter last time makes me think, okay, it's okay. I was off by a 1, but it's definitely a shorter arc.
I agree. That's much more likely, but
that's my thinking anyway.
Too.
So Midnight, Dr. Midnight is on the scene, and Black Canary's narration here as he's like, helping her up and whatever. Deep voice, steady hands. This guy's more confident than God. That's a weird line. John's more confident than God's a weird line to me. I don't know. Stuck out to me as being really cheesy. That said though, Dr. Midnight's got another cheesy one-liner later. When he's jumping through the window later, he yells out, "Seems like someone should remember to honor thy father." Alright, Midnight's a bit cheesy, okay.
I'm into it though.
Oh yeah, I don't dislike him. I mean, if he wants to be the cheesy guy that Dinah's kind of got a crush on, I'm okay with it.
Every team needs a cheesy guy.
But luckily, he's got essentially like a solar gun, which gets rid of the shadow infection. So he actually cures a couple of red shirt civilians who are attacking them. And then he's got an owl, a mechanical owl that's watching Obsidian and the others to see what's going on. And we see there's a nice quick little recap page of showing essentially what's happening in the heads of all the people who have been infected and taken over. So we see San, Jay, Kendra, Our Man, Fate, all kind of like basically being consumed by their nightmares. Jay's getting punched by the other Flashies. San's powers are out of control. Kendra's surrounded by blood. That one's a bit more vague, but clearly she's worried that she's violent, I guess. So I'd sum that up.
Yeah, she's terrified of having killed someone, and there's an interesting thing there as, has she actually killed someone already, or is she just scared of it? Because it looks like it could be like this fear of a memory haunting her.
And I love the idea that Our Man's is actually, because obviously he is a robot and he longs to be human in that classic sort of data type of way. I love that it's I can't remember what you call this, but the
Vitruvian Man.
Thank you, Vitruvian Man. But I love that it's that. That's what he's thinking about. It's him as that is pretty good.
Yeah, and just like am I a man dreaming I'm a butterfly, or a butterfly dreaming I'm a man?
So it sets up those 5 what they're doing. And then that's when the others come out of the Shadowlands, which is Alan and Ted Rice, the stepfather. And it's essentially, Alan tries to talk him down, says, like, I know I wasn't there, but I didn't know you existed, tries to kind of appeal to him. And it's just as he's about to kill his own father that Midnight and Canary come crashing in, and that's when he yells his cheesy one-liner. Yeah. In fact, it's actually even worse than I said earlier. He says, "You really need to remember the commandment, honor thy father."
I love it.
So they come in, they actually manage to blast one. Atom Smasher gets Obsidian and he's really going to town, but unfortunately can't quite win. They're flying around. He does manage to blast Kendra. They get Kendra back. The rest are still with Obsidian infected with the shadows, but they do get Kendra back. And
yeah,
Obsidian decides to just turn around and kill Karkle. He's like, "Yeah, you thought you were pulling the strings? No. I am the..." But he has that really cheesy lines because he absorbs them. He absorbs them from within and then takes over. It says, "You only hope to rule the Shadowlands. I am the Shadowlands."
This is such classic John's dialogue, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. I can just hear Batman yelling, "I am the night," as he yells, "I am the Shadowlands."
Obsidian's clearly a fan.
Yeah, the building goes boom, and the others are like creeped out. What's happening here? And because we find out earlier from Dr. Midnight that It's only contained to Wisconsin right now, only a few surrounding areas, but the darkness is starting to spread. It's spreading throughout the state, and then because we see this, so we see like a playground, it's like a backyard, like a little sand pit, and it's like
it's a different town in Wisconsin,
different
and then
town.
somewhere else in Wisconsin, and then Illinois,
and then Michigan, and it's spreading from, beyond the state, and we get these just apocalyptic looking panels of the shadow, the darkness spreading across, and then we eventually see this just a eclipsed Earth of like a black Earth with a purple glow around it, and then Obsidian's just sort of laughing to himself, and Dr. Midnight's like, now we pray, and that's your cliffhanger, because now the world's been consumed by the shadow darkness.
I think those 2 pages or so of the shadows kind of spreading is so meticulously paced. I think that is so well done.
Yeah, it's ramping up because it's obviously. I think what's beautiful about it is because you have 2 towns in the same state. So there's this sense of scale of like, okay, town to town, and then the neighboring state, and then a neighboring state to that, right? And it's kind of, you go expanding, and then you turn the page, and we see a city being consumed, and then we see the entire country being consumed, and then we see just like, one part of the horizon line, the hemisphere being
just
consumed.
Coming towards it, yeah.
Yeah, and then you get the full planet. It's just very, like you say, it's very well paced.
Yeah.
So no,
it's probably my favorite sequence in the book. I love that sequence there, just the way it does it. It's so such good storytelling.
I think it's his big money moment, although the fights earlier on are pretty good too. I think the art's especially good with Alan Scott, with him, because he's kind of emotionally trying to plead with his son. I thought the art there was quite good as well. Really got it was the emotion was really coming across on his face. But no, our art was solid again. Sadowski's been doing good work. I don't have a whole lot to critique really, or even compliment as much with this issue. It's just a really solid middle chapter. My interest to Midnight is a little bit on the cheesy side, but he's likable, and
I like that, we don't really know too much about him. We know he's actually a doctor. You get that early on, that he knows what he's doing. He's clearly well prepared, but we don't know too much about him right now, if this is your first time coming to this.
So no, and it feels like a fun way to introduce a new character, by just throwing him into the middle of this big arc, and then presumably we'll slow down afterwards and get to know him a bit.
It's really interesting to introduce someone in an arc which is should be so personal for someone else with Alan, right? And just to go, no, you thought this was Alan's arc? You're wrong. We're introducing someone else instead. It's their time to shine. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah. So that's solid. What are you giving it?
I'm gonna give it an 8.
Yeah, I can't argue with that. 8 out of 10.